Yeah, okay. So this is PulseCharts. It is a dashboard showing all the prices of the core tokens. Yeah, there we go. Showing a dashboard of all the core tokens. It is a bit of a red day today, but yeah, if you've used GoPulse before, you'd be very familiar with this kind of experience that you see here. The site has a lot of cool things. So we've got the leagues, which shows you all the core tokens, the leagues, so the breakdown for if you're a squid, a dolphin, a shark, etc. One cool unique thing here is it's showing you the holder counts per league, and these are liquid leagues specifically, so you can kind of eye up how many other users are in any one league. So that's pretty cool. So we've got Pulse, PulseX, Inc. We've got both hexes on both chains. We also got Hedron, Icosa, Communist, and also has like a lot of the kind of main ecosystem coins, a lot of the main memes. So you can kind of go through and click on any one of the coins and it will generate the leagues here for you on the fly. So that's the leagues. It's also got a bridge page, which keeps track of the bridge value. We saw some recent inflows on the bridge, so that was cool to see. You can kind of keep track of that there. Details on gas, so how much cheaper we are versus Ethereum. 53x cheaper right now, and you can kind of see all the different types of swaps that we have going on, whether there's like spikes in gas fees over the past 24 hours. Validators. This is pretty cool. It's a bit different than how GoPulse did it. So GoPulse, I believe they did it based on some kind of metadata. So ranking each of the biggest validators by the metadata on the validator. But that, in my opinion, is not the best way, because then like validator stores like way at the top, and that has a bunch of people inside it or using David Feeder's hardware. So I've done it by withdrawal address. And so you can kind of see Validator X right at the top in second place, Vouch, and these are like liquid staking protocols. So there's a bunch of people using those protocols, which is pretty cool. So about $6 million in each of those. And that lets you, I believe, hold liquid kind of staked Pulse tokens in the same way that we have staked ETH on Ethereum. And then you can kind of see withdrawal address for each of them. And it should load up. Don't know if you can see that. Yes, you can. Okay. So it should load up the block explorer for each of the addresses, so you can dig into that. And then a chart which shows the same thing as the table, but you can kind of see how, you know, the top 10 validators are the bulk of them. And then, yeah, as you'd expect, then there's the rest. Then we get to the kind of portfolio. So let me grab my wallets that I'm going to be using in this demo here. Let me just, Max, if it's okay, I'll just go ahead and share my screen a bit differently. Entire screen, Chrome tab. Okay, Chrome tab. I will do Chrome tab. There we go. So on the home page, to get started with the portfolio tracker, what you're going to want to do is down here, you can go ahead and check your airdrop. If you have addresses, you can paste in one or more addresses. We'll just wait for that to load. And then you'll be able to see your airdrop value. So that's 83K in this wallet, all of your PulseChain coins. And then at the bottom, you can go ahead and click Create Portfolio. Is my screen being shared? That's the thing. I believe it is. Cool. So that's 10 million in this portfolio, and you can kind of see it's laid out in a very similar way as GoPulse was. You've got your chain toggle here. So if you wanted to toggle to and from Ethereum or PulseChain, you can go ahead and do that. So actually most of this wallet, most of these wallets are actually on Ethereum. And then on PulseChain, you have this view. Let me go ahead and reload this. Can everyone see my screen? No. Let me stop sharing my screen and reshare, since Max may be on a toilet break. Okay, I think that should work again. I will just need to see why I'm not getting any HEX stakes up here. Huh. Because I'm on... Have I filtered it out? Apologies, everyone. Need to see why I'm not getting any HEX stakes up. No active HEX stakes. So my wallets may not be... Let me add a few more wallets. Sorry, I've got so many test wallets here. Apologies, guys. Let me just get all the different types of wallets. It's hard with using other people's wallets. So let me get the HSI example and the Maximus example. Okay, we should have stuff. Cool. So now imagine you've started, you have your different addresses. You can go ahead and click on this pencil icon and see the addresses that you've actually added. So you have address 1, address 2. You can go ahead and rename those to cold 1, click save, hot 1. You know, we've all got our different addresses, right? Go ahead and rename those. They'll be saved for you on your device. So just use a Chrome user or a computer that you're not, clearing your browsing history and cache often, because a lot of this stuff is built with privacy in mind, so it will be cleared, and I don't track anything on my side. So you can see for all of these wallets, now I've renamed these guys. If I wanted to just see hot 1, not the best example wallet since it holds barely anything. Okay, cold 1. We're going to be seeing the filtered view. We can, toggle 3. I see a comment here. Are you planning on making PulseCharts website more colorful and user-friendly a la HEX Scout? Not right now. Still going for the minimal design. Okay, Max is here. Awesome. And you knew you wouldn't leave me. But yeah, to continue on with the features then, because there's a lot here, you're going to be able to see your liquid balances, right? And that's what you see in this token balances table. You're going to be able to see your HEX stakes, which is what threw me off just earlier. Lots and lots of HEX stakes all listed up. These particular wallets own a lot. You can load more and continue to see all of them. It's sorted in a specific way right now to show you kind of the best user experience. I thought would show you the one ending earliest, but you can sort by progress, sort by start date to do it like that, sort by amount. You can do a lot of stuff. More stats. You can drop down with the more stats and see a breakdown of all of your HEX data on both chains. So the amount of total liquid HEX, so this isn't just the staked stuff, the amount of total HEX you have, the total natively staked HEX, and the percentage, so your share of liquid to staked HEX, the dollar value. You can see how many stakes you have on both chains. This user has 2 more on PulseChain. You can see your average APY, your average stake length. I mean, the level of HEX staking stats that you have available to you here is like really mind-blowing, even for me. Like, I built this for me. This is everything that I wanted to see for my stakes. You can see the principal. You can see the yield so far, the progress so far. The chain is like clearly indicated. The end date is clearly indicated. The APY, the T shares of each stake. You can also click on this address and filter just for that address. So if you see an interesting stake, you can say, okay, 1AA0, I'm going to filter just for 1AA0 and see all of his stakes. There you go. You can see your total HEX value. So this is your total staked HEX, which is also mirrored here. But then on the more stats, you can see your total HEX value, which for me, with certain goals that I had in mind, that was really key. I don't want to just see my total staked HEX dollar value or my liquid value or my HSIs and Maximus stuff separate. I want to see it all. So that was pretty cool. You can see your ended stakes. And this particular set of users has been pretty good at ending them. But if you have a late ended stake, which unfortunately I don't have in my test wallets today, it would be red and it would have a label that it was ended late. Or if it was early end staked, it would have a red label that it was early end staked. You can also see the stakes that receive the bigger pays better bonus. The big payday stakes. So that's pretty cool. And they receive significantly more APY. So that's the HEX stakes. There's a lot more in the HEX stake section, but I'll go over some of the other features for now, just to give you an overview. Going back to the token balances, you get to see your league for each of the tokens that you hold, which is very nice. So the units, but then also the dollar amounts, and also the wrapped EHEX and any wrapped coins from Ethereum will be counted under your native EHEX league, if that makes sense. So this row up here, HEX on ETH, you have 90 million. This row here, 7.7. You're going to be able to click on this shark position here and see 98 million HEX total, and it's still a shark position. But the wrapped HEX and the native HEX combined, that's going to be combined for you, and you're going to be able to see your league pretty nicely. You have links to DEX screening, you have links to copy the contract address. You're able to sort by amount. So, there's a lot of dust here. We would like to get rid of that at some point. The 24-hour change, you can sort by dollar amount or percentage amount, which is pretty nice. We don't have too many in green today, but you can kind of see, it also resorts for you. So the biggest kind of dollar loser for these sets of wallets is ETH, just because of the position size. So you can really do a lot. Now, if we go back to sorting by amount, we can get to the settings. So the settings, there's a lot you can do here. One of the cool things is hide dust. So if we're going to hide dust, we could hide everything less than $1. There's still dust here because some of these tokens don't have prices. So if you wanted to go ahead and toggle this off, then you're going to hide everything which doesn't have a price feed, and your portfolio tracker is going to look much cleaner and reduce noise. In an update that I'll be bringing soon, it's actually quite a big update. You're going to be able to toggle on and off tokens. So there'll be an advanced token manager. If you have tokens that you don't want to, you can toggle those off kind of permanently. You'll be able to add custom tokens. So if you're a founder of a coin, or if you launch your own coin, or just want to track a very, very small coin, you'll be able to add custom tokens to your portfolio very soon in the settings, where you'll be able to paste the contract address and the price, and everything will be pulled in for you. So that will be super powerful because, you'll be able to track, those microcaps. Validators, you can manually add validators. Let's just filter off. So if you filter off anything, you can see just validators or just HEX stakes and validators if you'd ever want to see that. And then your validator amount will be here. Let's start from the top then. So Maxi tokens, if you aren't able to get a price for some of the Maximus DAO tokens, like let me just find Maxi here. yeah, so Maxi has a price on Ethereum, which is good. But if you aren't able to get a price, let me just toggle off dust. Okay, so Maxi on Ethereum currently doesn't have a price feed, and even though it should kind of be valued, at least at the HEX price, but it's just because of the lack of volume or lack of liquidity currently, but it's still backed by HEX. And so what you can do is in the settings, you can toggle on use the backing price. And this doesn't just use the HEX price instead. I have the data on how much Maxi's backing value is. So you can use that. And it's actually about 2.1 or so HEX. So if you turn that on, you're going to see not only eMaxi, which, gosh, where is it now? Because now it has a small... Okay, so Maxi on Ethereum, it went from 0 to 4.5K. So you can see that that's going to be adding, adding to your portfolio, even though it's not redeemable for another, 8 years, 12 years. So what else in the settings? I'm telling you, we're packing punches here. We've got a lot going on in the settings. Include pooled and HSI stakes. So if you turn that on, let's just look at the HEX stakes then. So if you turn on HSI stakes, you're now going to be able to see all your HSI stakes, full HSI support. It's amazing. Again, you can filter by address, only address 6. I don't want to see anything else. I think address 6 is the only one that has HSIs because that's my example address for the HSIs. So you could go in, it's just so good. It's just so good. HSI wallet. Okay. Again, these are the ended ones. Do they have any active? Yes, they do. They have active ones. And they're, again, all the HSI wallet. A bunch of 5 max length stakes from this wallet. They've gone kind of crazy with the HSIs, haven't they? This specific wallet. Go back to native. And what do I want to show you? I want to show you the breakdown now. So now that we've turned on pooled staking support and HSI support, you're not only going to be able to see the solo stakes, you're going to see the HSIs, and you're going to see the pooled stakes side by side, which is just like amazing. So you're going to see the dollar value at a high level, and then you're going to see the breakdown of how much HEX is in those stakes, the HSIs, the HEX in those as well. The pooled stakes, so how much HEX is in the backing of the tokens that you actually hold. So Maxi, Deci, Trio, Lucky, Base. How many pooled tokens you hold, how many T-shares they represent, the average APY, and then the total staked HEX across all of these different contracts. And this is, I mean, if you're watching this conference, you love HEX derivatives. Like I personally love people doing cool stuff. Like we just had Ben on. I love people doing cool stuff with HEX. And so the fact that you can see all of this here is just like really valuable for you as a user. So please give it a go. I know it looks boring because it's in the settings, but it's really powerful when you turn it on. Liquidity positions. I recently added liquidity positions. Tell me there's liquidity positions in this. No, there's no one has liquidity. Are you kidding me? Let me quickly switch over to this. Okay. So in this, yeah, so in this view, you can see kind of the breakdown of liquidity. I don't have the exact wallet to hand, but it looks like this. If you click on the drop down, you're going to be able to see the breakdown of the actual coins in those PulseX liquidity positions. I have a working version for FUX right now, and that's going to be really, really exciting to show you guys the FUX positions, because you can also see the breakdown of all the different tokens that you have there. Time machine mode. I think I have 10 minutes left. I've been speaking really fast because there's a lot to go through, but maybe okay, let's do time machine mode. So time machine mode, if you turn time machine mode on, let me just turn it off quickly and take note of the balance that we have here, 14.7 mil. across all my wallets. Okay. Turn on time machine mode. What we're able to do now is project into the future what my HEX stakes, what my HEX stake value would look like in 2 days, in 1 month, in 1 year, at the end of my max length stake. You know, what would they look like at today's prices, but then at a future price, at $PHEX, at $EHEX, at a, you know, I've also given you the option to set the daily payout, which this is pulling in the data dynamically based on the last 30 days, which I think is a fair average to use. But you could set that a bit higher, you know, because we know that the payouts tend to trend up because of the inflation and other forces. But you can set that to 2 if you wanted to just, you know, play around with the numbers. So what we're going to do, let's just set it to the end of the year, 14.7. And let's just do only HEX stakes because we can do cool stuff like that. So it's going to be, let's turn it off, 882,000. And then we're going to turn it on to the end of the year. And it's going to go up by, what was it, 882. And it's going to go up by, God, 11,000. Sorry, it's late here. But yeah, so you're gonna be able to see that increase. So 11K increase, which is pretty nice, and the breakdown. So going back to the actual HEX stakes themselves, you're going to be able to see the progress of each of them. And this is paper value because it's in orange. Projected locked value on December 31st, 2025 at today's price. You're going to be able to see the yield so far and the projected yield. So the extra 3%, that's the 58K contribution here, which is just like really, really cool. And this guy's actually done quite a lot of stakes, long stakes. So then we take it to, you know, let's do a 10x from here. So 893 by the end of the year. Say we do a 10-cent PHEX price and what are we doing? A 2-cent EHEX price. Okay, does that sound fair? I think that sounds pretty conservative. 8.2 million just in the HEX stakes. So you're going to see I mean, we were expecting that with the 10x increase, but now we can go in and adjust the date and do it to the end of 2026. And it's going to make a much bigger difference because it's going to, you know, there's going to be a lot more yield that's going to have elapsed. And you can take it to the extreme and do to the end of 2035, if you like, which is sweet. So 8.4 million. Let me try and spam this button and just go a bit further. I should probably add a way to do this a bit better. Okay, end of 2029, 9.1 million. Okay, and you can see the progress getting longer and longer, the projected yield. So it's like having a HEX stake calculator, but like right in your portfolio. So you can make plans, you know, like at $1 HEX, I predict that we'll hit $1 HEX this bull cycle. How many of my stakes will be due, and how much am I able to take off the table? How much will I have liquid? You can really do some advanced planning here, right? Now, EES mode. I'll do it separately. EES mode will show you how much HEX you'll lose. It will show you how much dollar value you can extract from your HEX stakes if you were to early end stake all of your stakes today. So you can see total portfolio value, and I have it filtered just for HEX stakes because that's what we're looking at here. It's going to go from 881 for this particular user. If we early end staked, it's going to go down. We can only extract about 25% of the value, which is actually pretty good. And I think it's because he served quite a long time. But you can see here the penalty will be in red. Projected ES value on today at the current HEX price. And you can take it a step further by combining it with the time machine mode. So if we're gonna, let's just clear the HEX price to make it today's price. And let's do, so I don't know why you would want to do it so far into the future, but realistically, you may want to do it, you know, a couple of months to a year in the future. Let's do the beginning of October 2027. So what, like 2 years into the future, if that's kind of when you think, yeah, it may push you over. And anyway, you can just look at the numbers yourself, right? There are a bunch of incentives and variables baked into HEX to encourage longer staking and encourage you to keep hold of your HEX stakes. But for some users, it may make sense for them to early end stake if we see truly incredible dollar values for HEX, right? So for example, for this HEX stake here, 14.8K max extractable. The penalty, yes, the penalty is, so 1 million principal. You've earned basically the same amount as the penalty in actual yield, which is, yeah, actually pretty astonishing. I need to check that. Yeah, it does seem like it differs. So that may just be because of it's right at the halfway point here, but you've earned quite, you're basically canceling out, because it's right at the midway point. You're canceling out the yield you've earned so far with the penalty, plus there's a bit of extra projected yield. So there is the principal and the extra projected yield if you were to early end stake at 63%. So you are able to get quite a bit out, which is not just the principal, it's a bit more than the principal. So, but yeah, the numbers are probably, because these have the same stake idea, they're exactly the same. But that's pretty incredible that the yield and the penalty are bang on. We've just done that on the fly. But if we look at some of the others, they are different. So yeah.
Time machine.
Yeah. So that's PulseCharts in and hopefully you don't forget to turn it off. There's a massive label there, so you don't have a heart attack when you come in and see your portfolio either really up or really down.
There's a ton of, yeah, no, your site is amazing. A lot of people, even I've seen some people in the chat that haven't seen it before and had a lot of great comments as well. A ton of questions. We don't have time to get to them right now, but can people at you on X to ask questions?
At me on X, DM me on X. I prefer to, keep the conversation like super open with how I develop. Like I'm just developing features in public. So just comment on my stuff, and happy to take direction from you guys. The early end stake feature was recommended from our last conversation I had on stream. So yeah,
yes,
very receptive to feature suggestions and requests.